On a dusty mountain road, a barefoot boy leapt in front of President Ibrahim Traoré's convoy. Soldiers raised their rifles, ready to fire. But then, his trembling voice cut through the chaos, revealing a deadly secret hidden beneath the dirt, one that would decide the fate of a nation. The late morning sun baked the rocky hills of Burkina Faso. Dust swirled in the dry air as a convoy of rugged jeeps wound its way along a narrow mountain road. In the lead jeep sat President Ibrahim Traoré, his sharp eyes fixed on the twisting pass ahead. He had promised to attend the ribbon-cutting of a new health clinic in a remote village, a clinic that meant life for mothers and children who had never seen a doctor. Rebel activity had made the journey dangerous, but Ibrahim believed, if I ask my people to risk their lives, I must risk mine. Behind him, 2 jeeps and a supply truck followed closely, soldiers scanning the ridges, fingers brushing their triggers. Every rock and tree looked suspicious, every shadow a possible ambush. The engines rumbled low, wheels crunching over gravel. The air was thick with unease. Then, as the convoy rounded a bend, everything changed. From nowhere, a boy appeared. Thin, barefoot, covered in dust. He hurled himself into the middle of the road, arms outstretched, eyes wide with panic. The driver slammed the brakes, tires skidding on loose stones. Soldiers shouted. Rifles swung into position. The convoy screeched to a halt just feet from the child's chest. The boy pressed both palms against the jeep's grill, breathing hard, refusing to move. One soldier barked, "Get out of the way, boy! Do you want to die here?" But the boy's voice cracked with desperation. "Please, stop. Don't move forward. There are bombs." Chaos erupted. Soldiers leapt from the jeeps, rifles raised. The boy trembled but held his ground. His face was streaked with dirt, his shirt torn, his chest rising and falling like a drum. "Move him aside," a sergeant shouted. This could be a trick. But before they could drag him away, another voice cut through the commotion. Calm, steady, commanding. "Hold your fire." It was President Ibrahim Traoré. He stepped down from the jeep, boots crunching on the gravel. The soldiers hesitated, lowering their rifles reluctantly. Ibrahim's gaze locked on the boy. Despite his small frame and trembling limbs, his eyes burned with something different. Not madness, not mischief, but urgency. "Why are you here?" Ibrahim asked, his voice calm but edged with steel. The boy swallowed hard, his throat dry. "Sir, please. At dawn I saw men. 3 men. They wore masks. They dug near the old acacia tree. They planted wires across the road. They said when the convoy passes, it will explode." The soldiers scoffed. One of them muttered, "A beggar boy's tale. He just wants attention." But the boy shook his head violently. "No, I heard them. They laughed. They said today, there will be fire bigger than any mine in these hills." The convoy shifted uneasily. Ibrahim stepped closer, lowering himself to eye level with the boy. "What is your name?" "Musa," the boy whispered. "And how certain are you, Musa?" The boy's gaze never wavered. "If you move forward, you will die. All of you." Silence fell. Even the mocking soldiers froze at the conviction in his voice. For a long moment, Ibrahim studied him. He had seen fear in many faces. Soldiers, villagers, even ministers. But this was not fear. This was fire. He straightened, turning to his lieutenant. "Prepare a flank team. We are not taking the main road." The soldiers exchanged uncertain glances. But no one dared disobey. And so, the fate of the convoy rested on the word of a barefoot boy. The jeeps reversed slowly, gravel crunching beneath their tires. Musa darted to the side, pointing toward a narrow goat path winding up the ridge. "This way," he said breathlessly. "It will take you behind them." "Sir," a soldier protested, "this is madness. He could be leading us straight into another trap." Ibrahim's voice was firm. "Protocol can wait. This child cannot. We follow him." Musa sprinted ahead, his thin legs moving with surprising speed. The soldiers followed cautiously, rifles at the ready, scanning the cliffs. As they climbed the path, Musa explained between gasps. I was in the market, begging for bread. I hid behind barrels when I saw them. They had wires, boxes, nails. They said, "Once the convoy rolls over, it's finished." He glanced back, fear flickering across his face. I wanted to run, but if I did nothing, someone would die. Maybe mothers, maybe children. So I came here. The soldiers grew quiet. His words carried weight no boy his age should have borne. Finally, the convoy reached a high ridge overlooking the road below. Musa crouched low, pointing to a gnarled acacia tree near a bend. There, that's where they planted it. The soldiers raised binoculars. Their breath caught. From the cover of brush, they saw 3 masked men crouched near the road, laughing as they tinkered with wires. On the dirt lay a tarp covered with explosives, wires snaking like deadly vines. The boy's warning was real. One soldier muttered, voice tight with shame, "He saved us." Ibrahim's jaw hardened. Not yet. We end this. The rebels were still setting their trap, unaware of eyes watching from above. Ibrahim turned to his lieutenant. "Split the men. Circle them from both sides. Quietly. We take them alive if we can." The soldiers moved like shadows, rifles tight against their shoulders. The convoy remained hidden, engines off, hearts pounding. Musa crouched beside Ibrahim, pointing out landmarks. "See that termite mound? Go left. Behind the rusted well pump, there's cover. That path leads to the back." Ibrahim nodded. "Good eyes, Musa. Stay close." The soldiers fanned out, boots pressing softly into dry soil. The boy's guidance proved accurate. Every rock, every dip, every tree. He knew them all. At last they closed in. The rebels were only meters away, laughing, wires and detonators sprawled across their tarp. Ibrahim raised his hand. The world seemed to hold its breath. "On my mark," he whispered. "Now." The silence shattered as soldiers stormed from the ridges, rifles cracking. Bullets tore through the dirt around the rebels, throwing up clouds of dust. Shouts erupted. The rebels scrambled, one fumbling with a detonator, another grabbing a rifle. But before they could react, soldiers swarmed them from all sides, pinning them to the ground. "Hands up! Down!" Voices bellowed. One rebel lunged for the timer, only to be slammed into the dirt by a soldier's boot. The device skittered away harmless. The tarp of death lay exposed. Crude bombs packed with nails, wires strung with deadly precision. Tripwires stretched across the road, nearly invisible to the naked eye. Musa's heart pounded as he watched. His breath caught when one rebel almost reached the detonator. But then the click of handcuffs ended it. The rebels were subdued, their weapons kicked away, their trap dismantled piece by piece. A wave of relief swept through the soldiers. Nervous laughter broke out, but quickly faded when Ibrahim stepped forward. He stood tall, boots planted firmly on the dirt, his voice steady. "You chose to harm your own people, to kill mothers, fathers, children. For what? For chaos." The rebels lowered their eyes, silent. Ibrahim turned, his gaze falling on Musa. The boy stood trembling at the edge of the clearing, his hands balled into fists. "Your eyes and your courage saved us," Ibrahim said. "Without you, we would be dead men on that road." The soldiers, who had once mocked Musa, now looked at him differently. Some nodded. One even saluted. The boy who had been invisible, a beggar, a shadow, was now the reason they were alive. The convoy regrouped on the ridge. Engineers carefully dismantled the bombs, loading the pieces into armored crates. Musa stood apart, watching silently. The same soldiers who had laughed at him now avoided his gaze, ashamed. One finally walked up, placing a hand on his shoulder. "You were braver than any of us today," he said quietly. Musa's eyes widened. For the first time, a soldier had spoken to him not as a beggar, not as a nuisance, but as an equal. Ibrahim approached. He studied Musa for a long moment, then asked, "Where's your family?" Musa's lips trembled. "Gone. My father died in the mines. My mother sickness. I live in the market now, begging." The words hung heavy in the air. Soldiers shifted uncomfortably, realizing this small boy had risked everything for strangers, while having nothing himself. Ibrahim placed a hand on Musa's shoulder. Today you saved lives. You are no longer invisible. That night, as the convoy camped under the stars, Musa sat by the fire. Soldiers passed him bread and water, more food than he had seen in days. Slowly, he began to share his story. He told of mornings spent searching for scraps in the market, of sleeping under stalls, of running from men who chased beggars away. "I thought my life would always be like that," Musa whispered. "No one saw me. No one cared." The soldiers listened in silence. For once, there was no mocking, no laughter, only respect. Ibrahim sat across from him, eyes steady. "Courage is not measured by size, Musa. It is measured by the fire in your heart. And today you showed more courage than many grown men." Musa lowered his head, shy but proud. As dawn broke, Ibrahim rose and approached Musa. From his jacket, he pulled out a small metal insignia, the crest of his brigade, an eagle soaring over crossed spears. He placed it in Musa's hand. "This is not a reward," he said. "It is a promise. Come with me to headquarters. I cannot give you a uniform yet, but I can give you training, education, and a path. You will never be invisible again." Musa stared at the insignia, eyes filling with tears. He clutched it to his chest as if it were treasure. "I will come," he whispered. The soldiers watched, silent. This boy, who had walked barefoot and hungry, now stood at the beginning of a new future. Before the convoy moved again, Ibrahim gathered his men. His voice carried across the mountain road. "Remember this day. We were not saved by weapons or numbers or luck. We were saved by courage. The courage of a boy who stood alone." Musa climbed into the last vehicle, not as a stowaway, not as a beggar, but as someone with a seat earned. As the engines roared to life and the convoy rolled on, Ibrahim glanced at the boy one last time. In Musa's eyes, he saw not just survival but fire, the kind of fire that could light the future of a nation. And with that, the road ahead no longer seemed so dangerous.